So I'm here with Bo Gravely from Moore Giles. Moore Giles is our largest leather partner. We source almost all of our natural leathers with Moore Giles. But what is it that makes Moore Giles special?
Really what makes Moore Giles special is the diversity of our portfolio of leather offerings. We source leathers from about 13 tanneries all around the world. In each tannery, they are all family run, all family oriented, and more importantly, each tannery has a geographic diversity where they specialize in a certain type of natural product. Each one wakes up every morning that it's not about how much leather they can make, but how well they can make it, whether it's our Italian partner, Spanish partner, tannery in Thailand, India, Spain, Germany. We've got quite an eclectic collection out there.
You hear a lot about Italian leather. Is Italian leather necessarily the best?
You know, that's a great question, Steve. I think they are, and there are two reasons why. First and foremost, Italian leather, they've been making leather for thousands of years. They are still finding Roman sandals today, tanned there in Italy. But more importantly, so you have nothing but these long apprenticeships that have been dating back generation after generation after generation. Our largest tannery partner is our Italian partner, who celebrated their 160th year. Wow. So it's their 7th generation family now coming up and taking the reins within the leadership role. But the secret ingredient, especially in the Asiano region, which is the northern sector of Italy, has to do with the purity of the water. Our tannery takes basically it's the purity of this water that they get from an underground spring, where it's the runoff from the snow caps within the Italian Alps. And that Italian water is, if you try to take the same recipe, the same chemicals, and the same tanners and move it 50 miles west, you will have a totally different product. So it has to do with the purity of the water. That is the real main ingredient and the key ingredient that what makes and really helps separate Italian leather from any other leather within the world.
But the raw material, the leather that they're using, isn't Italian necessarily.
Correct, exactly. I mean, European raw material is really the most coveted part. So for us, that we utilize within our Italian cannery mostly English salted hides. Salted hides, meaning that the leather is, instead of being tanned, that it's preserved and brought in a salt form. This allows a tannery to manipulate the product that much more, where instead of trying to bring it in a wet blue or anything like that. So that allows another layer of a tanner's ability to really kind of have an artistry behind each specific product.
So when we talk with our customers about leather, we often sort of divide it into two categories. In fact, on our work tables here, we'll have a table with protected leathers and then a table with natural leathers. So the protected leathers are semi-anilines. What does that mean?
You know, Steve, for us, the correct definition of a semi-aniline means it is that the leather itself has a little bit of pigmentation on top of it. And I try not to tell my customers not to get caught too much into it. You know, the type of leathers that Moore Giles that we produce, we design leathers that try to preserve and celebrate the inherent beauty of leather, as opposed to trying to over-engineer it. Anytime you take a leather and you try to add a little more pigmentation, you try to even out the color, or you try to mask some of the characteristics that make it leather. And so to us, it's there. You could either try to apologize for it, or you could try to celebrate it. And to us, anytime you start over-engineering these type of articles, you start losing the hand, you start losing the comfortability, and more importantly, you start losing the character and the depth of the article. And for us, we try to design leathers that will last generations, that will last lifetimes, and then really kind of create that instant heirloom piece within somebody's home.
Customers often are concerned about the durability of the leather, and what they're really talking about is will it mark? If they take the fingernail, can they mark it?
Mm-hmm.
And I try to tell them that's not really durability. It's cow. The integrity of the leather isn't affected by that. Is that right?
That is correct. If you have pigmentation on top of your leather, that is sitting there and standing up. Now, what will happen over time is that the leather itself will last a lifetime, but it's the pigmentation or the bonding agent between that pigmentation. That's what ends up failing. That's what you end up seeing peeling apart on some of these lesser grade types of leather. Now, about 98% of the Moore Giles natural type leather, there's absolutely no pigmentation, or all you're doing is you're transplanting wax around or diversifying it. So when you scratch that piece of leather, the heat of one's hand allows that wax to migrate back into place, and so over time that will just continue to wear in and not wear out. And what that'll do, that'll help create patina and also help soften the leather, actually appreciating the leather's value and its look and appeal.
Right, right. So it just gets better with time.
Exactly.
In that category, the natural leathers that are going to patina, we're talking about some of the mainline leathers like Brompton, Berkshire.
Brompton, Berkshire, Mont Blanc, Echo, Storm, Pure. Any one of these naked natural leathers are designed to keep getting better with age. I think a great example is if you ever go into any of these type of museums, what do you see? You see leather you see leather shields, you see leather things, leather saddles. These leathers are 3, 4, 5, 6, 700 years old in some cases, and you know what? They look fantastic. That is what a lot of these type of leather pieces of furniture are going to look like over time, and to showcase that wear and durability is, it's going to be your grandchildren who will be fighting over these type of pieces of furniture over time, as opposed to more of these more heavily over-engineered or heavily pigmented pieces of leather. Those are the ones that you're going to be consistently replacing every 10 to 15 years because of that.
So Brompton is a flagship leather, obviously heavily waxed.
Correct. There's a very innovative wax process that's a 7-step layer. So our tannery in Italy, what they've been able to figure out is they basically are able to inject these hides with waxes, let it sit overnight, and then do that process 7 different times. And what that does is gives the leather a lot more body, a lot more depth, and a lot more pull up. And over time, that wax will just keep getting softer and softer through wear and use. And so the more you wear, the more you have it, the better it's going to wear in.
Maybe one of the very first times I ever met you was when you brought me what was then called, you called it Old World Brompton, which now is called Berkshire, and I think we might have been the very first company to sell that leather.
You were. We for years we've always had customers ask us, we love Brompton. How can we try to purposely age this leather to have what it looks like 20, 30 years after wear and use? And so, we took that, our tannery and us, we played around with this idea for almost a year on end. And so we came up with the idea that if we milled this leather overnight, taking Brompton milled leather overnight, and then actually put this in a specific drum that has these little wire brushes to purposely scratch it up and beat it up, that's kind of how we came up with Old World Brompton. Basically evolved into our Berkshire. So you were the first ones. Unfortunately, the type of scar that we had was a little too rugged for the average consumer. But over time, we try to have a little more elegance to it by taking the wire brushes out. But you guys were the first and the leaders within the industry of to come up with that and to utilize. And actually, I had that first chair in my office today.
Do you?
I do.
Excellent, excellent. The Mont Blanc and Echo they're almost hard to tell apart, but to me, that's the best color story out there.
Truly is. We made actually Mont Blanc by accident. One time we were making our Echo cigar and added a little more oil within the tannage, and the end result was absolutely spectacular. So for us, because of the amount of added oil in comparison to the Echo, we do more color story now within our Mont Blanc line just because of the type of transparency and the depth that happens within Mont Blanc.
I think we make so many Chesterfields and tufted pieces, and I've found that Echo / Mont Blanc is probably the ideal Chesterfield leather. Because it's supple, we get a really, really good tuft with it.
Exactly. I mean, to me, that amount of oil allows for this great tailoring, and the key to making that is making sure when it is pulled and pulled tight, the color doesn't wash out. And I think that's that secret ingredient that allows it. That's why our tannery is the best in the world at making this, is because of the fact that you're still able to have such depth and transparency of color even on such tightly pulled tufts. That to me is what gives it that translucency and something just truly special that will only get better and better with age.
You know, when we go to Showtime, which is the Leather and Fabric Expo, that's where we go see you and see all the new stuff. I always look forward to going to Moore Giles because you always have something unexpected, something different. I remember when the first time we saw Storm, which I think is from New Zealand.
Storm is actually from Italy.
From Italy. But it's a waxed suede.
It is. You know, for us, we wanted to, you know, that there's really nubuck has really become a very big lifestyle leather for us. And I think it is a very luxurious type of article, but it has this very negative connotation. So we wanted to really, you know, we had once saw an old boot made up in the Smithsonian that was Storm D-Day, and it was just this beautiful distressed wax suede. And so we took a picture and sent to our tannery back in, I think, 2014, and really just had them kind of work on something for us over this, because, you know, we started to see the landscape of leather really going from a lot of polish in there to really try to go much more of a casual look. And so because of that's why the idea of Storm kind of came to fruition, was because of that. And so I think because of that, you know, try to take oil and just really this great distressness to it, that allowed to still get a lot of depth and clarity within the leather, while still maintaining a very surprisingly soft, buttery hand. And I think that's what has made Storm such a surprising hit is, you know, you take this very cowboyish leather, but we've done this in some very fashion-forward colors, whether it's in these creams or more pastel colors. It really has created a much more modern aesthetic to it that I think lends itself to be a very versatile type article.
It's interesting because it can be more modern, yet it's old and worn looking at the same time. And I think that's what makes it special in our showrooms, where we have a piece made in Storm. Some people are very uncertain as to whether it's even leather when they first approach it.
Well, it does create this more modern vintage look, and I think that I think it, to me, where the real artistry is within your artisans of being able to manipulate that onto certain applications. Because to me, that's how you know a leather is very versatile. Is you can put it on a modern frame and it has a modern aesthetic, or you can put it on a very traditional frame and it has a very traditional aesthetic. And I think that's where the true great leathers that we've done, whether it's Mont Blanc, Echo, Storm, all translate to that. And I think every manufacturer can put their own signature to that. I think that's where COCOCO Home has been able to be pioneers, is by being able to manipulate that depending on whatever style of their customer so chooses.
Thanks. Well, Bo, I appreciate it, and as always, I can't wait to see what Moore Giles does next.
Well, we can as well. It's something that you guys are a great partner and somebody who we absolutely love, and cannot tell you how appreciative we are for all your true artistry and helping us to keep pushing the envelope.
Perfect. Thanks, Bo.
Thank you.